All right, welcome into Starting Nine here on the Five Reasons YouTube channel. I'll find the camera eventually. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can find me at Ethan J. Skolnick or at Five Reasons Sports on Twitter. We're going to talk Miami Dolphins today. Make sure you catch the latest episode of Five on the Floor. We get into the improvements that Tyler Hero can make. That's going to be up here on the channel. It's already on all the podcast channels. Greg, Alex, Brady, and myself did that. But we are going to talk Dolphins today. Before we do, want to just tell you about Prize Picks. Okay, this is our official fantasy sponsor. This was just named the #1 fastest growing sports product in the country for 2021. Find out why. You go to Prize Picks. You can download it from the Google Play Store or from the App Store, prizepicks.com. Here's the key, though. Make sure you're using the code 5. It's right there below. Make sure you're using the code 5, FIVE. You got your initial deposit matched up to $100. You don't need to put down $100, but why not? Because they're going to give you $100 to play with. I can tell you right now, the Dolphins props are starting to get up there for the Sunday game. Tua is, I believe, at 230.5 passing yards. I think similar to where Mac Jones is. So if you have a say on that. Also, Tyreek Hill, I think, was only like 69.5 receiving yards, which looks like a pretty good play. But again, you can go over, you can go under, pair players from different teams, different sports. So use the code 5, FIVE. We're going to be running tons of contests there and other stuff. And, of course, the Thursday night game tonight between the Bills and the Rams. So get the Josh Allen and the Matthew Stafford and all of those other props. They are up there over at prizepicks.com. All right, going to get into Dolphins today. And this is a very different thing for me because, look, a lot of people don't understand or don't remember, because I'm much older than everybody, that I used to cover the Dolphins before I covered the Heat. Actually, I was primarily a Dolphins writer from about 1997 to 2000. And then for several years in between, I really didn't go to the Heat exclusively. I did a lot of Heat, but not the Heat exclusively until 2010 when LeBron came, and then pretty much went from there. And the reason that I switched, obviously, because LeBron was there, but also because the Dolphins never had hope. I mean, that was the thing. It's not fun as a writer, which is what I was at the time, a reporter, to be covering a team that's never going anywhere. And, you go back to the late 90s when I started covering them. Jimmy Johnson was in charge. And there was hope at that time, but the hope kind of faded over time as Jimmy lost interest in the job and as he couldn't really find the quarterback that he wanted to replace Marino, because he never really wanted Marino there in Marino's declining years. And then I covered the Wannstedt years, which, basically building on Jimmy's talent. They had some very good rosters. 2002, I remember being in Denver when the Dolphins, won a critical game against the Broncos. They went to 5-1 on the season on a field goal by Alindo Murray, 24-22. But that night, Oronde Gadsden got hurt, Jay Fiedler got hurt, Chris Chambers got hurt. The season was kind of sunk. They ended up going 2-4 with Ray Lucas and then didn't end up making the playoffs. In 2003, sort of the same thing. And then, of course, Ricky Williams went off to a tent. And the franchise has been in free fall pretty much ever since. It's just been one embarrassment after another, okay, whether it's Bullygate or Cokegate or all kinds of gates. And now Steve Ross, tampering gate. I mean, plenty of gates. And the Dolphins have, of course, just won one playoff game in this millennium. And that was December 30th, 2000, with Lamar Smith running for 209 yards. That's been it. Okay. The 2008, they didn't really have a chance against Baltimore. That was the Wildcat season. 2001, they also lost in the first round. And then, of course, they lost with Matt Moore replacing Ryan Tannehill a few years ago. But nothing else to really get excited about. I mean, it's been a dormant franchise. The Dolphins, in a lot of ways, are the Knicks. I mean, if you look back at it, the 70s were really good for both. I mean, while the Dolphins were, having undefeated seasons, winning 2 straight Super Bowls under Shula, the Knicks are winning 2 championships in 4 years. And pretty much since then, it's just been embarrassments with ownership, bad hires, not making the playoffs, getting hyped and not living up to expectations. And to me, that's why this is different, because this feels real to me. The Joe Philbin era, the Adam Gase era, even the Tony Sperano era. Nick Saban, of course, came with all these high expectations. And again, I covered those 2 seasons as well, but then he lost interest in it too. His wife didn't want to be here. He didn't like the fact he couldn't control the media and all the players and the pros like he could in college. But this feels real this time. And that's why I'm holding my breath, because I feel like this should be an 11-6 season. Okay. That, to me, looking at this roster, looking at the upgrades to the coaching staff, looking at the relative health of the team coming into the season, I understand Byron Jones, but the rest of the roster is pretty much healthy. The depth they have at certain positions that is necessary, the upgrades on the offensive line, the stable of running backs where their first and second backs from last year are now their third and fourth backs, which shows how much better the team has gotten. The receiver position, which should be one of the best in the NFL. The tight end position, we'll see how they use Gesicki, but they seem in pretty good shape there. They are loaded in the front seven. They've got one of the top 3 cornerbacks in the entire league, a budding star at safety, a very good kicker, and a crew of guys who can return punts and kicks, even though we'll, again, be holding our breath when they do it. They should be an 11-6 team in a loaded AFC. They should be the second best team in the AFC East behind the Bills who are playing tonight. And that's why, again, I'm a little bit scared today. Because this feels like everything has gone right on the field for them during the preseason. The off-the-field stuff with the tampering and all that, that's a different deal. But the on-the-field stuff has gone right. The coach has made an impression with his players. He's made an impression with the public. He's made an impression with the media. He looks like the right hire. He's different. He's got a refreshing approach. And so it just feels like we're set up for a crash here. And the funny thing is, if this was the Heat, I wouldn't be saying that. Like when the Heat come in with expectations, I feel like they're going to fulfill them. The Dolphins, I don't know. It's one of those, I'll believe it when I see it. So I'm trying to put the past aside here and look at this roster for what it is. Look at this coaching staff for what it is. This is a team that should be able to beat you in a number of different ways. They can be aggressive defensively. They've got that back line of defense. You also, though, look at their offensive game. They have a clear plan, okay? Yes, McDaniel's going to try to develop the running game, but Tua has pretty much said it. He's like, I'm just getting the ball to my playmakers. There was someone, and I can't remember who it was, who described Tua as kind of Steve Nash in the 7 seconds or less offense. That's what this is going to be. It's just get the ball out to guys. Like Nash on the break, get it to Marion, get it to Stoudemire, get it to those guys who could finish, right? Well, in this case, it's get it to Tyreek Hill, get it to Waddle. He's got playmakers all over the offense. So while people are going to be arguing about did he throw this 51-yard pass well enough, what's really going to matter for this Dolphins team is he moving the chains by basically leading his receivers for yards after catch for first downs and big plays? I think he's completely capable of that. And yes, as our Chris Kaufman, CK Parrott of 3 yards per carry has said, now the narrative is going to change because it went from, well, okay, Tua is not good enough to lift the talent around him to now that he's got talent, if he performs well, what people are going to say, those who are inclined not to like him for whatever reason that I still never understand because he's not controversial, they're going to switch it up and they're going to say, okay, well, he's just got all these guys around him. He doesn't have to do anything. But you know what? If they're winning, who cares? Right? This offense is going to be designed in a way that he can get the ball out quickly, get it to the playmakers, avoid taking 6-7 sacks, and avoid the big mistake. Now, if he can't succeed in this system, that's a conversation that we have to have as the year goes on and into the offseason. It would help to have that extra first-round pick now, just in case. I believe he's going to. But again, I'm also a little skeptical because I have seen expectations with the Dolphins before and they haven't lived up to it. Different coaching staff, different players. But if you go back to the year that Culpepper came, 2006, they were on the cover of Sports Illustrated. People are expecting that, or I think Sports Illustrated and ESPN, the magazine, they were expected to go to the Super Bowl and potentially win it. There have been other years with some expectations. The reason that this feels different to me, and again, we'll see if it holds up, is that the approach is so different. For years and years and years, the Dolphins just tried to do the same thing over and over. I know Steve Ross wanted Sean Payton. He wanted the big name. He's wanted Harbaugh. He stumbled into this decision on Mike McDaniel. But again, like I say about Tua, if it works out, it works out. And you're going to see a lot of coaches follow McDaniel's style if it works out. But he said it himself. He has to be prepared for this opportunity because he's not inheriting a bad roster. Alfredo Arteaga on 3 yards per carry has said this all the time. He's not inheriting the type of team that typically coaches inherit when they're first-time head coaches. Not like that Arizona team, right? That was inherited by, I can't remember his name, with the guy that was fired a couple of years ago. He's inheriting a good team. It's a team that won, all but one of its last, 7 games last year. This was a team that was in the mix for the playoffs. This was a team we felt last year should have been a playoff team when the season started, but they got off to that horrific start. And then that team has been upgraded. It's been upgraded with a top 5 playmaker in the entire NFL, a good third receiver, a premier left tackle, a real fullback, 2 running backs who are better than the running backs that you had, veteran players in the front 7. This Dolphins team is now the 7th oldest team in the NFL. How the hell did that happen? This was the youngest team in the NFL. But they've added some veterans this time, and that matters because those guys have been through it. They can help the rest of the roster. And again, he's inherited a team with a guy in Javon Holland, who I think is going to be an all-pro this year. It's a good team. He's under pressure from the beginning. So what is going to be interesting to me is how he handles difficulties. We've seen him do it a bunch of different ways. The Preston Williams situation, he kind of stumbled out of the gate there a little bit. But we'll see. The questions are going to get tougher. His decisions are going to be challenged. My hope for him is that he stays true to himself, mostly as a play caller. I want him to stay aggressive. We have seen other coaches come down here. Tony Sparano was aggressive his first year, and then he was praying for field goals. Nick Saban was aggressive initially, going for it a bunch of 4th downs, and then that changed. I don't want to see this coach turn into Wannstedt, okay, when he feels pressed. I want to see him continue to push. So we'll see if he does. But I have this team at 11-6 this year. I think that is going to be enough for a wild card spot. But you look at the AFC. You've got Buffalo. You've got Cincinnati. I don't believe in Pittsburgh this year, but Tomlin will keep them competitive. I don't believe in Cleveland, obviously, with the Watson situation, even though there's personnel there. Indianapolis has a lot of talent, and Matt Ryan is an upgrade. Tennessee is still really damn good. They got that guy on the backfield. That defense is going to be pretty solid. And then you get out to the West, and all 4 teams are competitive. The Raiders are competitive, seriously upgraded. The Chargers should be competitive. Look, we can talk about the Herbert Tua thing. Chargers have added enough talent. Herbert needs to take that team deep into the playoffs. The Chiefs are still going to be good. The Broncos have Russell Wilson. There are 4 teams in the AFC West that would all make the playoffs in the NFC. Miami's going to be competing with those teams for wild card spots. You're going to need to get to 11. 10 is not going to be enough. All right, we are going to take some comments here as we go forward if we have any come in. I know we get more on the Dolphins, on the Heat than on the Dolphins. I do want to tell you about one more sponsor here, the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Check out LouisPeters.com. That's LUIS Peters.com. This is where you go if you need insurance, okay? So he works for State Farm. Everybody knows what State Farm is. They do everything. They do the life insurance. They do financial services. I have my renter's insurance with him and my car insurance with him as well. He's a huge Miami Dolphin fan, okay? I actually saw him out there with Alfredo at training camp. He follows everything that goes on here, so that'll be easy conversation as you're going through the rates on your insurance. He's based in Miami. You can see the address down there. You can find it on the website, 7750 Southwest 117th Avenue, but down there in Miami. But just go to LouisPeters.com. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He's got a great office there. They respond to you right away. 305-275-5585, 305-275-5585. You can see what's in the background there. He's a Miami guy, and again, he's a huge Miami Heat and Miami Dolphin fan. Reach out to our guy, Louis, if you need any kind of insurance at LouisPeters.com. All right, so just going to close the loop here. And again, going to close the loop kind of by starting your day. We've got a lot of stuff coming up here on the channel today, so make sure you're following all of it. We're going to do a prize picks on 5. Get you ready for that. Better Edge has a show tonight. Better Edge is our gambling partner. This is peer-to-peer gambling. This is legal in the state of Florida. You can find the line that you want. Sean Rochester and so the guys are going to be hosting a show there, getting you ready for the Thursday night game and over the weekend. So make sure that you check that out. Also, an episode of Dolphins on 5 today with Alfredo and David Eversole. So plenty of Dolphins content. And then Sunday, the pregame show hosted by David Fernandez. That'll be on before the game. We call that yard prep. And then the final yard after the game with Louis Sung, David, and others will be on after as well. I want to thank Alejandro for producing. Again, just a little bit of a primer, a little bit of a teaser, 11-6. That's my call this season for the Dolphins. But if they're 6-11, would it surprise me after the last 25 years? It would not. Have a good day, everybody.